Back in the day, thermolaminate became super popular for making things that weren't made for sublimation sublimatable. And now we have Sublimation HTV. In this video, I wanted to test out if Sublimation HTV can replace laminate and be used to make things sublimatable. So if you want to see the answer, just keep watching. I'm going to be using the Dollar Tree canvas panel. These are the ones that are just flat. I really like these. Lately, I'm really into these. I'm using the 8x10 ones. I'll have these linked down below in the description, as well as everything else that I am using. I'm going to be using my thermal laminate sheets. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I've used these before. I'll have these linked down below. They're also linked in my Amazon storefront. And then for the Sublimation HTV, I'm going to be using this Sublimation HTV. This is my first time trying this one. I'm pretty sure I haven't tried this one before. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Pretty sure I haven't. So I'm going to be trying this one before. It comes in a roll. This is a 12 inches by 10 foot roll. I'm also going to be using some butcher paper, heat tape, and a lint roller, and of course my heat press. So I already checked my pressure on the heat press and I preheated it to 320 degrees because that's what I'm gonna need to adhere the Sublimation HTV. So I'm gonna start off by taking my lint roller and I'm just going to lint roll my canvases to get any dust and lint off that's going to prevent my HTV from sticking on. So for one of them, I'm gonna be putting my laminate sheet. I'm just gonna make sure there's no dust on it by just rubbing my hand on it. I'm gonna flip it over. And right now I'm not worried about trimming it. I want it to overhang. And if you see any dust as you're doing it, make sure you take that dust off because you're gonna be able to see that dust once you press it. So just try your best to get rid of it. For the Sublimation HTV, we're just gonna be doing pretty much the same. I'm gonna take my clear HTV, the shiny side is facing down, and then I have the more matted side facing up. I'm gonna take my canvas and put the white side down, and then I'm just gonna trim that just with some overhang. And the reason why I'm doing this is just in case it shifts or something on the way to the heat press, or when I'm opening and closing my heat press, I just want to make sure that my whole canvas is going to be covered. And plus, with laminate, your laminate kind of can shrink a bit when you press it. And now we're ready. I'm just going to take some butcher paper and I'm going to put this down. So I'm just going to take some butcher paper and I'm going to put this down and I'm going to tape it just so that it doesn't shift on my way to my heat press. You want to make sure your whole canvas is covered. Again, we're going to worry about trimming it later. I'm going to do the same thing for the laminate one. I'm going to adhere them at the very same time. Okay, so now we're ready to go to our heat press to adhere our laminate and our Sublimation HTV. I'm going to put my butcher paper on here. Again, I want to make sure nothing has shifted. And then I'm just going to take a Teflon sheet for now because I have one right here. And I'm going to press these at 320 degrees for about 10 seconds. To prep my laminate, I'm going to take it off the butcher paper. I'm going to take my sublimation design, face that with my design facing up. I'm gonna take my canvas, flip it with the laminate facing my design. I did less of a bleed than I normally do. I normally do a much bigger bleed. So hopefully this will still be okay. Means I have higher chance of an error. I'm just gonna start taping my design to my canvas all the way around. Am I gonna regret not adding more of a bleed? I sure hope not. But it's a possibility. We shall see. And this one's ready to go to the heat press. I'm just gonna put it down. You could even tape it down to your butcher paper if you want to. You don't have to. And then I'm just gonna take my butcher paper and fold it in half. And this is ready to go to the heat press. And I'm basically gonna do exactly the same for my Sublimation HTV one. Now that our clear laminate has dried, we're gonna start peeling off the carrier sheet. So you can just kind of bend down one corner, lift up your carrier sheet, and then just start peeling it off. And it has to be a cool peel. If you try to peel this off when it's hot, it's just gonna get all wrinkly and soft, and it's gonna start peeling off. So wait until it's completely cooled down. Now I'm just gonna get my design, and just like we did the laminate, we're gonna put our design face up. We're gonna take our canvas with the white parts. You see this one's a matte Sublimation HTV. They also come in glossy, which will give you more of like the laminate finish. But this one's matte, and so I'm gonna flip it and place my image, place my canvas on top of my image, making sure that all the sides are covered. And we're just gonna do the same thing of taping our canvas to our design. Now that I have taped it all up, I'm just gonna put it on my butcher paper with my sublimation paper facing up. I'm just gonna tape it down just so that it doesn't shift on the way to the heat press. Not that it matters, but yeah. And then I'm gonna fold my butcher paper over that and take this to my heat press. I'm gonna take my laminate canvas. I have it all prepped. On the fold butcher paper on top, and then I'm gonna press at 385 degrees for 60 seconds. So now that that's done pressing, just gonna take it, flip it over, and just start taking out all the heat tape. It's been a while since I've used laminate. And I would say that as you're waiting for this to cool down, put something heavy on it so that it can not warp. You see how it's kind of warped? You want to put something heavy on it so that it cools down flat. So I'm going to take my clear sublimated canvas. I'm going to make sure my butcher paper is on top, and I'm going to do 385 for 60 seconds just like I did the laminate. We're going to let this cool down before we rip off our paper, just because that clear sublimation, when it's like heated, it's like very weak and it might just rip off the canvas. So we're just gonna let it cool down. So I'm gonna put this to the side for now. Okay, so now that it's cooled down, we're just gonna take off our sublimation paper. Okay, so now you can take something like a rotary cutter. I wouldn't use the Cricut True Control knife because I find that that actually cuts into the canvas itself because it's kind of slanted a little bit. So you can take something like a rotary cutter, some small detailed scissors, and just cut off the excess of your Sublimation HTV and of your laminate. Okay, so let's talk about some of the differences that we see. Obviously, the laminate is shiny. I don't think there's matte laminate. So this is how the laminate looks. In the laminate, you see the texture of the canvas, but you don't see it as much as you do in the Sublimation HTV. Obviously, this one's matte. Again, Sublimation HTV also comes in glossy. I just don't have glossy. The colors are a little bit different on these. I would say this one's more true to the colors than this one is, but they're both nice. What I like about the Sublimation HTV is that it feels like it's part of the canvas, whereas this feels not like plasticky, but like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a canvas, you know? This one you can feel the texture of the canvas, you can see the texture of the canvas, which I think is really cool. Almost looks like it was printed directly on there, whereas this one it's a bit, you know, I just feel like the details are not showing up as good as they do on here. Okay, so my personal preference is going to be, can you guess what my personal preference is going to be? The Sublimation HTV, especially for the canvas. Again, they make glossy Sublimation HTV. I just happen to only have matte. And I just love it because it literally looks like the image was printed on the canvas, whereas with the laminate, doesn't necessarily look that way. Not that it looks bad with the laminate, but I like that the texture of the canvas is coming through with the Sublimation HTV. Which do you guys prefer? Have you used Sublimation HTV? Do you prefer using laminate on things that you can't normally sublimate on? Or do you prefer using Sublimation HTV? Let me know. And if you use Sublimation HTV, do you prefer the glossy or the matte? Let me know in the comments because I really want to know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Hit the bell notification button to be notified every time I upload. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and check out my website at soulpresscreate.com. I love you guys and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.